Tell me in a few words.
What is it like to live in Tucupita?
I'm not going to deny that I also felt ashamed. I felt very ashamed to be from here. If you could change something or dislike something about living in Tucupita, what would it be?
And the Guarado community welcomed us to perform a traditional dance for us. Because yes, even if people say otherwise, Tucupita does exist.
From the Cathedral of the Divina Pastora in Tucupita, Delta, Amacuro State, we welcome you to a new video.
Today we're going to be exploring the capital of one of the most remote states in the country, which has been very little documented. But not only that, we'll also be with a local girl who will tell us what life is like, talk to us about the Guarao traditions, who are the native indigenous people of this state, and we'll also visit points of interest in case you, who are watching this video, feel encouraged to come.
If you don't know us yet, I'm Valeria.
And I'm Emmanuel Vieira.
And together we're two crazy travelers.
Hey. This cathedral is so impressive. I read that it has 1,300 square meters, it's really huge, and 32 meters at its highest point. And it was built between 1957 and 1982. The construction lasted 25 years until it was inaugurated during the government of Luis Herrera campaigns. And it's the Apostolic Vicariate of Tucupita. For those who don't know, that means it's like the church is the main one and also the administrative headquarters of the religion in this entire region. This is a sign by the Pope from Rome, especially in rural areas where there isn't much ecclesiastical presence.
I want to introduce you to Liusca, a woman from the Delta whom we met this year at the conference we had in Valencia. And it has such a beautiful purpose that life brought us here today. It united us so that we could be a part, a little piece of everything you want to do, Liusca. Please tell us a little about your stories. Oh, well, where should I start? Where should I start? I don't want the story to be too long, like the stories of many migrants. Are we going back to our roots? Valerio, I think we're somehow being called back by our homeland. And, well, after living and working outside the country for a while, there was a time when I was in Europe working as a waitress. And I met a man who was from, I think he was from Andalusia. I still remember that man. This man sees me from afar and comes up to me and asks me for a drink, and I go to prepare it for him, and he says, "Where are you from? You look Latina, you're not from here, are you?" "I'm from Venezuela," and he says, "But where exactly?" I was in Venezuela. And I say to him, "Really?" "Well, sir, but what happens is that I'm from where the devil left his shoe, where the wind turns back over there. You won't know where the road in Venezuela ends, where the road in Venezuela, and you won't know." And the Lord says to me, "Let's see, like there, tell me where you're from." I tell him I'm from Tucupita, and he looks at me with a surprised face and says, "The Orinoco Delta?" Wow. And he says to me, that was one of the most important and meaningful trips of my life, where I saw the greatest number of birds, plants, and animals, and I fell in love. I've already been 3 times, my eyes tear up. Okay, to me it must be so impressive to be on the other side of the world, And I felt that, look, I got goosebumps. Because I really felt that as a calling, like a calling that was made for me, you know? I was at a point where I was being forced to work in the country because I needed papers to be able to live there. But I didn't have a purpose. And when this happened, it was like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And I also felt, I won't deny it, I also felt ashamed. I felt very ashamed of being from here, of having been born in Tucupita, and for not knowing even a quarter of what the Orinoco Delta meant. of how immense it is for so many people, and for us who are from here and see it every day, sometimes it doesn't even mean anything, you know? And I said, can this be? And I go and stand on the balcony and watch the sunrise. And I go into a deep meditation, my breathing, and I go into a deep meditation and I end up lying down. And when I opened my eyes during my meditation, I saw a sky full of stars, and I felt like the stars were practically falling on top of me. And at that moment I said, this sky isn't from here, this sky is from Venezuela. And I bought my ticket and I came and I got in touch with some people I knew, because obviously I didn't know, I had no idea how to start. And I got in touch with some people who had camps here. And well, being a local here, obviously in such a small place, everyone knows each other. But before we keep talking about how everything unfolded, I want you to give us a little more context. What was the situation like in Del Tamacuro? When you decided to leave, how old were you? What was the atmosphere like at that time? What was happening in Del Tamacuro? Well, I left Del Tamacuro in 2013. I was studying at the Central University. But at that time, we were going through a crisis, a terrible situation in the country, where there was that collapse, where there wasn't even any food. I was one of those people who stood in the long lines at the university cafeteria, who had to get up at 4 in the morning to buy chicken, just like everyone else when all this happened. And then in 2017, the university closed. I would go back and forth. I tried to go back and forth, but just imagine if you couldn't find food in Caracas, what was the situation like here? There were so many people who even died from eating bitter cassava, right? At that time, people ate bitter cassava and lots of children died, lots of them. Because the grocery store, I mean, things are produced here. Okumo is produced, cassava is produced, coconut is produced at the local level and for family consumption, but just a little, not at an industrial level. And at that time, when there wasn't any, people ate mango, they ate cassava, they ate, and sometimes they got confused. You see a cassava root, you pull it out, and when you see it's bitter cassava, they end up dead. Of course, and this is what was happening at that time, but the famine situation that people were living through then forced a lot of people to leave. I arrived in Venezuela after 4.5 years and realized that we were still recovering from a pandemic that left us devastated, because that was a blow. After another 2017, all these protests ended, all of that, and then in 2020, the pandemic hit. We barely started to recover from one thing before getting hit by another. And I arrived in 2021, and I thought, well, this really isn't the time to live in Venezuela, so I moved to Colombia. Yes, in Medellin, I made money, and then I came and invested it in Venezuela, in Tucupita. To be exact, I said, no, I'm gonna bet on my hometown, but it wasn't the right time, it wasn't the right time to bet on my hometown. And I lost everything in just 2 months, and I went back to Valeri. I had $500 in my pocket, that was all I had. And I went back, I crossed my border on foot, and I came back here to Colombia. Thank God I had learned English and I got a call center job that helped me recover. When I recovered a little, my best friend came from Trinidad and told me, let's go to Europe, and I went to Europe with $800, not euros. I went to Europe with $800 and I said, well, let's see what happens. I stayed for about 1.5 years until what I just told you happened, okay? And I said, that's it, I'm going to Venezuela, and here I am, trying to shout to the world that we do exist, that there is a little piece of land here that needs to be seen. How does that idea of Venezuela, of Tamacuro, begin if it exists? When I was in class and they asked me, well, where are the people from the interior? Well, here I am. There was always someone from Yaracuy, someone from Apure, 1 or 2 from over there, but almost never. I saw some people from Tucupita and I said, I'm from Tucupita. And they asked, where is that? That doesn't even exist, but they've always said that Tucupita doesn't exist, that Tucupita doesn't exist, that Tucupita doesn't exist. Like, what's over there? That the only thing here is a river. And I would just joke around with them and say, when you get to the checkpoint, that's exactly where they give you a paddle and a canoe, and they give you a straw hat. They give the women coconuts and a loincloth, and you can't wear clothes anymore. You're out of civilization now because you can. And people believed my story. Oh, it can't be. I mean, people from Caracas actually believed my story that there weren't even roads here. Back then, when this social media boom started, I used to share little things, but I always added a hashtag and said, well, Tucupita does exist. But what was your username at that time? But at that time, my username was Liusca, which is my name together. And then, well, some people came, I went to your conference, and then we talked. I don't remember what we were talking about at that moment, but everyone was sharing their username. And I felt like mine didn't have any strength. It wasn't like it was hard to remember. It was hard to remember, but in the end, I said Tucupita does exist. I'm from Tucupita. When I left the conference, Valeria grabbed me and said, girl, come here, you're going to do something, do me a favor and change that username. Well, that's when Tucupita exists started. Hey, now the username, the girl from Tucupita, is also nice. Well, I can use that one for TikTok because it's not taken yet. I'll grab it right away so no one else does. Look, I don't have TikTok. There are so many questions we want to ask because we also want to know what life is like here in Delta Macoro nowadays, what the sources of income are, what the hobbies are, and many other things. But let's keep going so this doesn't get too long, okay? So come with us, we still have so much more to discover.
And just 2 minutes from the cathedral we just visited is the Malecon Manamo Promenade, which is named after the river you see behind us. Look at how beautiful this Tucupita sign is. Later on, we're going to explore this whole place. But what's important right now? Come on, come on, come on, come on. It's the San Jose Church. This was the first church built in Tucupita. But back then, the river reached all the way to the end of the street, which means that the indigenous people who came to the church had to paddle here in their canoes. Come with me. Let's go in through all of this. All of this used to be river, right up to here. So they would leave their little canoes parked here, and there was a staircase that took them to the inside part of the church. Also very beautiful, of course, but simpler than the cathedral. We just visited it, and it's very important. The first architectural work of the Catholic religion. Here in Tucupita, and over there in the background, I don't know if you can see it, you can see the image of Jose Gregorio Hernandez and Maria del Carmen Rendiles. By the time this video comes out, they will already be official Venezuelan saints because today, as we're recording, it's October 18th. The canonization will be tomorrow, but this video will probably come out a few days later. So I'm very honored and happy that these people who are so important to our country now have that international recognition, especially for the most devoted followers of the Catholic religion. From Rome, now we came to the municipal market. Look, it's one of the places I like to visit the most. When I arrive in a new city, a new town, even a new country, because that's where you see how the local people interact, what they consume, how the economy works, the movement. And here, well, we start to see a lot of vegetables, greens, of course, cassava bread, which is very, very traditional among the indigenous peoples. And look, fruit for sale, yang.
What's interesting about this market is that all the fruits and vegetables are there.
And on the outside part there are many, many river fish. Liusca, what are the most commonly eaten fish here in Delta Macuro?
Well, here we have the famous lau lau, which is the one that the gentleman has.
This one is dorado. Well, this is dorado. We have dorado, we have lau lau.
And we have the rayado, which are all part of the catfish family, the river catfish. That one over there is the rayado, obviously characterized by its stripes. Wow, how beautiful.
They also call it the tiger fish or the catfish as well. How long have you been selling fish here in the market?
boss 32 years.
32 years, and were you born here in Delta Macuro? No.
I'm from here.
About how he got here to Tucupita?
Really? From a maid?
What little fish do you have there in your hand? Copero, and how much is a kilo?
600!
600 bolivars, which would be about $3 approximately. Here we are with Solimar at one of the little stalls in the Solimar market. Solimar, how long have you been selling fish?
About 20 years.
And you were born here in Tucupita? You've spent your whole life, well, with your family, I imagine, selling fish?
Yes, sir.
Which fish sells the most?
That one, the capote and the caporo.
This is morocota. Why is it cut like that?
People prefer it because it's easier.
Usually that one is eaten in slices, yes, and it's eaten fried or grilled. Look how spectacular it is. This is how it looks when they take it out of the river. And look at this handcrafted cut they make. It's quite a show to display it, and honestly, it looks really appealing. In fact, I feel like grabbing a slice right here and putting it in the pan, even though we just had breakfast, but this show always makes you want to eat it. Solimar, tell me in a few words, what's it like to live in Tucupita?
No, quality special, better than in another state.
What do you enjoy most about living in Tucupita?
Well, I like everything.
Do you work at the market Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday?
Every day.
Every day, including Sundays. And when do you rest?
Well, on Sundays, one afternoon in the evening.
Until what time do you usually work? Until 1? Until 1, then comes the break. Okay. And Solimar, what do you like to do in your free afternoons? On the weekend, anything special? How do you have fun?
No, just a pool party at home.
A pool party at home with a little beer?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, because the next day you have to work, that's right. Well, thank you very much, Solimar. Look at how beautiful this fish is. It's a yellow catfish. Even if you don't believe it or you hear the word catfish in your mind and say, yuck, a catfish. River catfish is delicious. I had the chance to go fishing at the Cara River once, and what you catch there is payara, peacock bass, and river catfish. And this tastes spectacular. So those who are watching and say catfish and all that, no. They're thinking of sea catfish, which is totally different from river catfish. And also, look at how beautiful these fish are. They remind me of the leopard fish we saw in the Maldives, but obviously smaller and from the river, all striped like this. Wonderful. Let's keep exploring to see what we find. Those you see there are piranhas, the famous piranhas, which you can not only find here in the Delta, we've also caught them in the plains of Apure.
This is the guara and this is the buco. These are fish that live at the bottom of the river and feed on rocks and mosses. Los musgos. That's why they're like that and live under the muddy ground, like in the Orinoco River. Underneath it's mud, it's muddy. They are animals, they are mudfish.
They're like the caranchos.
Like the caranchos, these are the caranchos.
Ah, look, but here their name, here the typical one is busco.
What's the name of that striped fish? That's a catfish too, right?
A catfish, yes or no?
And where do you catch it from?
In Palmacarrego?
That's already almost at the exit to the Atlantic Ocean. And this is caught with hooks, with a line.
With everything. With hooks, with a line, how much does a kilo of this cost?
600 bolivars per kilo for the striped catfish, which would be about $3 approximately. Well, this is the same striped catfish.
No, this is yellow catfish.
This is the yellow catfish. Which do you prefer, yellow catfish or striped catfish?
The striped one.
Are the striped ones good too? Yes. And how do people usually eat them?
Tell us.
Fried. Like this.
Salty.
What's the process for salting fish in the Delta?
The salting is exactly as shown here.
The fish for salting. It's opened here along the back, so it opens up completely just like you see here. And then you make the cut, which is called scoring. You score it. And then comes the process of adding the salt. And after the salt, it goes out in the sun until it's completely dehydrated.
And after that, about how long does it last?
After that, it can last you months, 2 months, 3 months. It depends, because if you put it...
Now refrigerate.
It lasts much longer.
Of course, and when it's time to eat it, you first have to remove the salt.
Not exactly. You have to soak it, remove the salt, and then season it, cook it however you want.
What is life like here in Tucupita in your own words? What is it like to live here in Tucupita?
No, living here in Tucupita is excellent, better than in any other state.
This answer was just repeated by another lady. You also say it's better than any other state, but why?
Why? Because Tucupita is a state that isn't so fast-paced, it's calmer. You understand that in another state, at least if you go to Puerto Alda, life there is more hectic.
Exactly, it's faster.
You understand? Not here. Here you walk around calmly. Here you find everything nearby, everything is peaceful. Here you won't have any kind of problem with anything.
Tell me, what is a typical day like from the moment you wake up until you go to bed?
I get up at 5 in the morning, sometimes 4 in the morning, go to the place where the fish are caught, bring them to the municipal market, and then start the process of selling them.
Until 1 post meridian when the market closes, right?
1 in the afternoon?
And after 1 homeward?
To rest with family.
That's right, with the family, thanks. I have a quick question. Do you fish yourself, go to a port where others do, or fish and then buy and resell it?
Here we go to a port to buy from the people who fish. We're basically resellers.
And which fish sells the most? That catfish, striped?
No, curvinata, striped, everything sells.
Curvinata sounds like curvina. Is it similar? Is it from the sea or river?
No, it's from the river, it's the same. One comes from salt water, the other from fresh water.
Ah, okay.
This is from fresh water. The croaker is from salt water.
At another stall, they told me sea fish are also sold in this market.
Yes, yes.
And do they go to the Atlantic to fish for them? Or do those fish come into the delta and they catch them there?
No, they come by transport.
Ah, okay, they catch them in the open sea and bring them here.
Of course, those come from other states.
Well?
He goes to another state to get them and brings them back like sugar.
For example, exactly. Okay. And what's your favorite fish?
Any of them, the striped one, mahi-mahi.
They're all good, right? All of them.
Are good?
As long as they feed us, they're fine.
Of course, they're all edible.
How much is a kilo of Dorado? 6.50. What else do you have besides Dorado?
Sardinata?
Sardinata, well, I'll help you now. Oh, Dorado, Sardinata, 6.50 Rosa. What's life like in Tucupita?
Well, it's better than in another state.
Because here life is better.
Pesquera could join the fishing company.
Okay.
Where you can at least work with your little fish, with the crops. You can make your little money.
Of course. And you, how long have you been selling fish here in the market?
I've been doing this for around 8 to 10 years.
And before selling fish, what did you do?
I'm a business administration graduate.
Okay.
I'm a systems engineer and a senior technician in tax and fiscal matters.
Wow, and with all those degrees, why did you decide to come sell fish?
No, most of my family is here. Everyone up there in front is my family. They're siblings, we're cousins, nephews, like that. Almost all the first stalls here belong to my siblings.
A family business?
Well, pretty much, and the rest are from Delta Bend from other places. There are other people who are right here who are also beneficiaries, also from here.
Okay.
Who live around where I live, but they've been there for years. Their relatives, their parents are basically the ones who have, they're the descendants because they're the ones left, from them, okay?
Okay.
So.
You just said what you have there are like fish gills and waste, right?
Those are the fish waste.
And what did you use them for?
For the pig's food, at least I prepare it for them, I cook it for them.
Well, okay.
And I give it to the animals.
Ah, because at home they also have some little pigs. Of course, for December.
Well, exactly for the sales.
Because they also raise pigs to sell or for personal consumption.
For sale, for consumption.
For both.
Well, for both things.
And chicken and eggs.
Chicken, all of that.
Everything is fine, it's fine. What do you like most about living here in Del Tamacuro?
Because it's a place that's more peaceful. You don't see life
To tell you?
so miserable because there are people, well, you see yourself in other states, in other countries, well, in other states out there, and people go through a lot of hardship.
Yes.
There's not much need here. Here, you put anything up for sale and it sells and people help each other, they support each other. In other states, if you have nothing, it's terrible.
And is there anything you would like to improve or something you don't like about Tamacuro? What would be good?
At least here, I would like at least for us to fix, well, our own stalls and things like that ourselves. If I told you what I want fixed here in Tamacuro State, you wouldn't believe me.
Tell me.
Because life right now is practically critical.
Of course.
For everyone, not just me.
Of course.
Because there are also parents and families in need here. Not me, because at least my children are already grown and I don't have that need yet, but I keep going. I go out to work every day to get by and to help my children. Because I also have daughters who are professionals and a son too. I have only one son and two daughters, but they are professionals as well.
And they all live here?
Of course, they live here and I help them. Well, just to let you know, but there are people, children, women who are in need. And I would like the government to lend them a helping hand, some support.
To help them?
Because it's not just for me, because you can't just speak for yourself, but for other people too. There are others in need, the indigenous people and even the Creoles.
Of course.
And there are people in need. And I would like the government to lend them a helping hand, to give them a hand, a friendly hand.
Have a great day and good luck fishing. We came back to the fruit and vegetable section and we just bought some passion fruits. I mean, look how full those passion fruits are.
Best maracujas in the world.
And now we're moving on from the vegetarian stuff. In this little market, you can find everything like hardware items, kitchen items, of course, fruit, vegetables, greens, fish, and clothes. What more could you want? There's everything here. Look, crafts, there are crafts here. And in case you thought there wasn't any beef or pork, there's that here too. This is the other side of the market. Go ahead, boss. Look, 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 how beautiful. There are several butcher shops over here. We parked the car there and started walking that way. There are a couple that seem to be closed, but there are some over here too. Oh, look, I see chicken. Good morning, how are you? Of course it's already 12:30. They told us the market closes at 1. So, I imagine that many have already gone down to Santa Maria and have gone home to enjoy themselves.
With their families.
And as proof, look, there the gentleman is finishing cleaning everything up and getting ready to go home.
Now we came to have lunch at Mr. Rogelio's house.
That place in front used to be like a liquor store, a convenience store.
A bodega is both a liquor store and a home.
Yeah, a liquor store and at the same time a house. We came from back there where we parked the car. Well, we crossed the end. Hello, good morning. How are you? Everything good? And look at this privilege. This spectacle in the backyard. The exit to the Manamo River. Little tables here. A small restaurant. Wow. How about that?
How nice, right?
Such a cool spot, Liusca. Tell me, how did you discover this place?
Well, I was just telling Valerin that Mr. Rogelio is very well known here in Tucupita. He started, well, with his liquor store right there in the front, and well, since everyone started to know him because on weekends people like to have a few drinks. So people started going to the back. Now everyone comes in like they own the place. And they started by bringing a little box of beer. Then another get-together, well, let's have a meal, and well, up to this day, this is a spot for the people here in Tucupita.
And Mr. Rogelio cooks for them.
Also here, food on the weekends.
I imagine he specializes in river fish.
He specializes in fish, and right now they're telling him to tell you how he gathers the shrimp.
Wow, how beautiful. And this is the Manama River, of course.
Manamo, Manamo.
Right. I don't know why I said that.
Manamo is number 1. In the Guarao language, it's called Manamo because it's the main river, the big river, the number 1 river.
Okay, so
That's why the river is called Manamo.
I want to introduce you to Mr. Rogelio. Tell me, how did this little restaurant start, Mr. Rogelio?
Because of shrimp fishing. We all have a shrimp deposit here, and there are about 30 to 40 shrimp traps. Wow! At first I used to give the shrimp away, but when I saw there were a lot of shrimp, well, I started selling garlic shrimp, then breaded shrimp. And today, we currently sell shrimp in maliteras, shrimp with avocado. We also make shrimp cocktail. We've made shrimp ceviche with those shrimp, everything. You can't even imagine.
Those shrimp have really blessed our family.
Well, not before, just from the day before yesterday until now, because before, those shrimp were very small. What happens is, I think it's just nature. Or maybe the grafting from Pedernales, which is why today in the Orinoco River we have blue shrimp. By the way, okay, a project from a previous government was supposed to create the blue shrimp, but it didn't happen. Still, this Orinoco has blue shrimp, by the way. I've had them in my aquarium.
Wow.
Right now, I have photos of blue shrimp, but we also have regular sized shrimp called little tail shrimp. The larger ones are found in Pedernales.
And are you from here, from Tucupita?
From Tucupita, born and raised here in Tucupita.
I've lived my whole life here in Tucupita.
All my life living here in Tucupita.
Mr. Rogelio, what do you enjoy most about living in Tucupita?
Mira, look, this place has its own culture, the peace, the tranquility. Let me tell you, well, here we Deltanos are heavy drinkers because it's easy and because of friends. Here, there's always someone to offer you a drink. There's plenty of work. We don't beg here. People give to us. There are plenty of spaces, friends and family. And we are very united people here, as if we were one big family. Tamacuro State, Tucupita, and we all know each other.
If there's anything you'd like to change or dislike about living in Tucupita, Mr. Rogelio, what would it be?
What can I say? What can we change here? What we want is we're not going to mix things that might make us uncomfortable. But the landscape says it all.
A beauty, right?
This is admired and respected, and we've taken advantage of this from Tama.
That's right.
What I can tell you is that what we're missing here is good tourism development. We have the streams, we have the source of the mangroves. Over there, towards Bosque Tigre, there are some very, very beautiful campsites that I've had the chance to visit. And well, the Malicon Manamo Boardwalk, that project that was never completed, hopefully one day they'll make it happen. It would be an amazing project.
What are you making for us, Mr. Rogelio?
Today we're preparing a lau lau stewed in coconut for you, which is the tradition. From the Tama, well, part of it, because here the tradition is Tama. We're really into hunting. Here we love iguanas.
Okay.
And we've had the opportunity in this little restaurant to sell more iguanas than any other type of game.
Wow.
The iguana seasons are in February and March. Those are the seasons. And well, right now we sell regular fish, lau lau, the kokoro fair, and right now there's the crab fair, which you can see on the promenade. The indigenous people, those are seasonal events. And well, today I will have the pleasure and privilege of having cooked for you with coconut and curry, a stewed lau lau with plantain bole. The process here for making plantain bole, which is a mortar of different sizes. We have it. This is a small one.
Small?
This one is small. Nah.
Wow, look, the size is from my foot to my knees and it's small. And it has to be with plantain, since I see this one is a bit green, with green plantain.
And some of us add plantain, pinton.
Okay.
To give it a touch of sweetness.
Of sweetness, okay, with a nice look.
It's a matter of taste.
And after mashing the plantain like that, they shape it again, kind of like a plantain, and cut it into little rolls. I'm going to take one out here to try it, together with the lau lau in curry and coconut. But there's also okumo. Look how beautiful this okumo is here. Mr. Rogelio was telling us that the Guarado indigenous people love it. They plant it a lot.
And here is our lunch. Do you grab it here and eat it with sauce and with your hand?
Okay.
Is it good? It's just wonderful.
We came back to Paseo Manamo, this time to take a little boat that will take us all around the Caño. An interesting thing that happens in the waters of the delta is that the current changes every 6 hours depending on the sea level. That is, when the sea level is high, when the current is strong, well, the water comes in, the deltas get flooded, and the current flows in one direction. When the sea level drops, it's like the water from the delta gets sucked out toward the sea and the water flows the other way. So I don't know if you can see over there. At the end there's a little canoe. They also call it a curiara here, but I understood that a curiara has a motor and a canoe doesn't. The indigenous people from the nearby communities make their crafts and come to the area to sell them, especially during these weeks when there's a fair or something like that, they were telling us. So they bring everything, sell, and then when the current is in their favor, they go back. Sometimes it doesn't change so quickly, so they have to wait. On this little beach that forms here, which is also very, very beautiful, Look at all the palm trees, there's the sand, and here you can see a curiara or a canoe, and over there you can also see another family that's coming back. I imagine it's because the current is now in their favor. They were telling us that back in 2008 there was, I don't know if abundance is the word or whatever, but there were a lot of motors and everyone had, well, motors, and as the years went by with the crisis, the motors started to break down. And right now they're basically going back to their ancestral traditions, which is sailing in their canoes without motors, paddling with their oars. We had the chance to come to the Delta in 2018, and we didn't see any indigenous people with motors anymore. Everything we saw was in little canoes, and today, well, that's still the case. I want you to meet Alexis. He's from here, from Tamacuro, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about your story, Alexis.
Well, I have 19 years of experience in tourism, and I do tours all over Venezuela, mostly in the Orinoco.
So that tourists come and get to know the Delta, which really exists. We are trying to promote tours in Tamacuro. You were telling me something about the canoes and how to keep your balance. Can you explain a little bit? Yes, well, actually the canoes are a bit tricky because you can't just get in and sit down suddenly, otherwise they'll tip over. There's a technique where you have to cross your legs. That way you press against both edges of the curiara to keep the balance of the curiara, because if you don't, it will tip over. Okay, it's just that they're actually pretty narrow, right? Yes, you have to be very careful. And I have a question, Alexis. I understood that the ones without a motor are called canoes, or do you also call them curiara? If they don't have a motor? Well, when it already has a motor, yes, it's called curiara, because it's made from a single piece of wood. Okay. Now, you already know the general name? Okay. That's why it's called curiara, or if not, well, with a motor. Okay. What is a boat? Yes, they already call it that. Okay. No matter the model, to him it's just a boat. For example, the family that just left, are they in a canoe or a curiara? Curiara? Curiara too, okay, but without a motor. Of course, now canoe is a general term. Well, okay, like I can say that's Sacano in English. Okay. Everyone already knows him. Well, welcome to Santana Island. What's your name?
Maciel?
How, Maciel?
Maciel?
Maciel? How old is Maciel? 3 or 4. 5.
High five and...
The mothers of the harvest come from here. They're going to sell plantains and cassava in the market, cacao, everything you need, they bring it from here.
Alexis, you told us that you have been working in tourism for 19 years, and I want you to tell us a little more about your whole story working in tourism.
Well, look, I started in 2007. For the first time, I went as a volunteer at the Orinoco camp of Taloy, and I started from there. When I arrived, they put us as volunteers there for 3 months, working 2 hours, and the other 3 hours were free. So I used to go out with the tourists. And one day I told the owner that I didn't want to be a volunteer anymore, I wanted to work. But I don't want to get paid, because I just want to learn now. They told me that's fine, and they started giving me small IPEC groups like that. When the time came, they told me, well, they started sending me out, I don't know, to the airport. Because since I spoke English and Spanish, that's where it all started, that's where everything began, and in 2012 I stopped working. I started my own business because many friends told me, look, start your own business, but I never wanted to. One day they told me to make a website. I didn't know how to do it. I looked it up on YouTube and started making one. It took me 3 months and I published it. I'm working on that now. Which ones?
And what did you do during all that time when there was practically no tourism, not just here in the Delta, but in many parts of Venezuela? How did you manage?
Look, during that time I took the opportunity to make the website. I said that someday this is going to be useful for me. In fact, my wife argued with me, but no, someday this is going to be useful for me. That's when I started and finished it. I published it, and I still have the iPod and iPod Touch. I did everything there. I wrote everything there. That tiny thing, when I pick it up now, I see such a small thing. I still keep it as a backup. I have it on that iPod Touch. It has my whole life. Since I started with tourism, it has all the photos.
Now, I want you to tell me a little bit about what tourism was like here. 19 years ago, many people used to come. Not that many. Now more come, now fewer come. How do you notice the,
Well, back then, in 2007, I remember I used to handle more than 30 people all day, and I would finish with one group, and another 30 would come finish, and another 30 would come. There came a time when I couldn't do it anymore. I mean, I wanted to, but my body just couldn't take it anymore.
And of course, at that time, there were direct flights from Denmark.
Yeah, I couldn't take it anymore. But then the owner says to me, but what is it? What do you need? The owner would send me to Margarita for 3 days, all expenses paid beyond just my usual trips.
I mean, Tamacur is full of tourists. Everything is here.
There were tourists walking around like you wouldn't imagine. Germans, Poles, all kinds of tourists with chairs.
What were they seeking in the Delta Macuro? What did they want to see or do?
Because when you mention Delta, they think that's the Orinoco. Let's go to the Delta. When you mention Delta, you feel like, well, let's go. That's the Orinoco. Let's go over there. When I arrived here in Tucupita back then, I would find people who worked in Parata saying, no, I'll take you. I'll charge you less.
So,
did they go like that? Right now? No. Right now, if you're not certified by the Ministry of Tourism, you can't work as a guide.
Obviously, of course.
That's why right now I have a lot of certificates that they've already sent me, and well, I'm just getting started. I'm the very first one who started here in Tucupita.
Congratulations.
Trying to boost tourism here in the Delta, here in Tucupita, not just with foreigners, but also with locals, because more and more locals are coming.
What do you feel you could improve, or what could be improved in general so that tourism can thrive again? Like 10 years ago, like 19 years ago, so that many people come not only from Venezuela, but also from outside the country?
Well, first of all, I think that, Venezuela needs to change Tucutico because people are afraid to come. That's their biggest fear.
Here inside, some people say,
wow, it's dangerous, but when you get to the place where, like you can come without any problem, then we welcome you and do all the tourism. But those people who don't know are afraid. And
honestly, we felt super safe at all times. If you enjoy adventure, want to connect with indigenous communities, and learn more about Venezuela, come here for an amazing time.
Here they gave us a little coconut. And it's not just humans who are taking advantage of it, but oh, look at this little thing.
I'm an old lady. I don't have any teeth.
I'm still here on Santa Ana Island, and I'm going to speak English because there's a community that comes mainly from Guyana, and they mainly speak English, right? And how did you get here to Delta Macuro and start living here?
Well, my parents and all of them
came back a couple of years ago, and well, we started a family and began to build, so we came.
Oh, your parents do farming as a way of living, right?
Yep.
And what is the fruit or the plant that you grow the most?
The most is like banana, plantain. That's most, well, crap, what we get, okay?
And also you go fishing on the river.
Yeah, catch fish. Well, that's most living, fishing, farming, yeah.
You help your parents with the farming, or you also go to school in Tucupita? Well,
we didn't start yet.
Haven't started yet. Yeah, okay, well, you're gonna start in Tucupita.
Yeah.
How old are you?
18 years.
18 years. Thank you so much. I really like your English. How interesting, a family that, well, came from Guyana, I don't know how long ago, but what the hell.
Oh.
My God.
At home, we only speak English, and English, if you don't pay very, very close attention, it's really hard to understand. Because honestly, it has an accent that Tom, who has traveled a lot, tells me is very similar to the one in Suriname and, of course, in Guyana. And it's complicated, but very cool. Here on the little island of Santa Ana, which is very close to Tucupita, look, that boat you see over there transports people to Trinidad and Tobago. The trips leave once a week and take between 3 and 4 hours. We just got back from that boat ride, and now we're going to take a little trip in a Curiara. It's pretty hard to keep your balance. How's it going, Nini?
Are you taking the risk there? Your Curiara?
Is that true? I.
Hi.
I almost fell. They're really unstable. Seriously, it's complicated.
Oh.
How are you, boss?
All good.
All good, all good.
What's your village called? Are you from Tucupita or a small island?
One of the islands over there.
From going to Santa Ana? Oh, are you from there?
Yes. Oh, we come from there? I don't know if you can see over there at the end, but in the afternoons here at Paseo Manamo, they do dance therapy. People come to exercise. Is it cool you here? Are we going to dance at La Macarena over there? We arrived from that trip in Curiara, and a Waro community welcomed us around a bonfire to perform a traditional dance for us.
Our song is in the Warao language, and the song is called Maramuzaran, which means the long firebird.
Maramusaran, Maramusaran. Thank you. Some nervous shopping just happened. Look, I bought this little necklace, just one piece, simple and girly.
Look, this woven purse here with this, yes, this is like the typical weaving, guarao, you know, it's really hard to get here. And, well, as a gift, we don't know if, I don't know, we still don't know what we're going to do, but we feel it's a way to support all the artisans.
The last time we came in 2018, all the cash we brought with us, because at that time there was no mobile payment, there was no phone signal or anything. We invested it in Guaro products, and over the years we sold them in our little crazy store, although I should mention that Nanita kept about 80%. Now, well, there are more ways to do things, like I said, mobile payment, and also if we decide to sell these products and you buy them.
It can be done more often now because we could transfer money to them now that they have mobile payment and their own account, and then send the products to Caracas, which is the easiest part. Before, it was only possible with cash being here, and well, it was practically impossible unless we made the trip ourselves.
And if it's a trip just to buy and sell, it's not profitable because, well, good morning, travelers. Yesterday we finished those negotiations for handicrafts and it was already very late. We had done a lot during the day, and you know that the heat makes you really tired. And we went straight to sleep, but today we woke up really early because a new adventure is coming. But before that, I want to show you this little place that I think is amazing.
Good evening, how are you?
Valerie makes fun of me because I say good morning in the morning. Look at how beautiful this cafe is. We're at a place called Friends. It's only been open for 3 weeks, and there's something really cool, which are these little tables. You sit there and you can play around with your feet while you put your drink down.
Up here they also have hookahs, some tables, and well, they prepare all kinds of coffee for you. In the afternoons they have ice cream with yogurt and so on.
I am pleasantly surprised by everything we found here in Tucupita. Honestly, the town is very, very clean.
The traffic lights are the most high-tech I've ever seen. I think not just in Venezuela, but in my life. I mean, they show you the temperature, the time, and of course the countdown to cross.
And also, they worked as pedestrian crossings. Everything on the same little traffic light screen. Look at this little place too. Even though there are only a few, there are businesses here. Look, worthy of being in any city. This cafe in Caracas would be a hit. I mean, it was wonderful, plus yesterday it was packed. I mean, really packed.
I don't know if it's because it's so good. Well, yes, I do know it's because it's so good because I just tried them. The sandwiches are amazing, but also because it's new and, well, there were a lot of kids there, like straight out of school, coming here to enjoy themselves. Some of them were still wearing beige shirts.
And I love that the people from these places choose to invest in their own town instead of wanting to move to the big cities or even abroad. Like Liusca said, she spent several years away and then decided to come back to contribute to her town and to help make it known. Because yes, even if people say otherwise, Tucupita does exist. All this you see here is the line to get gas here. Gas at the international service station is not subsidized, it's at the regular price. And even so, the lines are pretty long. Liusca, throughout this video we've learned a lot about life in Tucupita. We've seen that most people make a living from livestock, agriculture, or fishing. We've also noticed from all the people's answers that it's a very peaceful life and that people are very calm.
You could say they're not nationalistic, meaning they prefer their own state over the rest, and that's very nice because it helps them take care of it and protect it.
But I want you to tell me what you've liked the most and what you would change after you decided to come back to live here in Tucupita.
First, launch this project and promote the destination.
Well, Emma, basically, I think I would share in this case the thoughts of all the people from Delta with whom you've already spoken. Honestly, the kindness, the goodness, the peace of living here, that's really what I like the most. It could be that today you wake up and you don't have anything in the fridge, which happens on many occasions. But if you go to your neighbor, they will never refuse you. Or you go out and, well, you have the land that can provide for you, or you go out and, well, you cast a net and catch what you're going to eat. So it's not a matter of people being stingy. People are actually very generous.
They help each other. Since there are few businesses, everyone helps one another. Competition isn't seen as a bad thing. Competition is actually healthy. And what I would change would be those people who don't see the abundance that surrounds them. For me, I didn't see it either, and I was in that position too. I had to leave, I had to travel, I had to be in other places to understand what was the goodness and the abundance in which I lived, so I could value my little piece of land and my river.
Well, I hope this video reaches some people who are encouraged to come and get to know the state, to get to know their town. And well,
Without a doubt, it opens the eyes of more people, more than Thanos.
And they are encouraged to see tourism as a possible source of income. Because I feel that they have too much potential.
So much I feel that they are a wonderful place, and diapers.
Even talking to people who have been working in tourism for a long time.
They told us that in the past it was Canaima Margarita del Tamacuro. Canaima Margarita del Tamacuro. I mean, it was a route.
It was the route. The airport was active, so that route was done with small planes, with charters, and until recently. I feel that even before the pandemic, there were still a few, but there wasn't that push. And I think that having all that support is going to allow us to really take off now that things are much faster than before. I think we can evolve and we can take advantage of all these benefits we have if we all come together and work toward the same goal. Because in the end, it's a benefit for everyone, both for those who are coming and for those of us who live here.
Thank you very much, Liusca, once again for taking us on the tour yesterday and today, for opening your heart to share your story with us.
So what is life like in this little remote village that many people still doubt whether it exists or not?
And being the first, it's true there are no more doubts, right?
Anyone who still had doubts, I think it's clear now.
And well, let this be the first of many other trips for Tamacuro, not just for us, but for our followers too.
Of course. Thank you, Emma. I can't believe this video is coming to an end. I'm leaving with my heart full of memories and unforgettable moments. Yes, there are definitely many things we need to improve as a country. One of them for me is better air connectivity, because that will allow more people to go to different regions of the country. But the most important thing we have is the enthusiasm of the people and the landscapes.
I also don't want to say goodbye without mentioning that there are basic services that really need to improve.
But it's such a repetitive topic that we've decided to focus on the good things about each place. There are problems with gasoline, that's a reality, and the power also goes out, but many people have decided to install generators to solve this issue.
And countless other mishaps or problems that Venezuelans face.
They haven't just sat back and done nothing, but have adapted in a resilient way and have looked for ways to solve things, to welcome people.
I feel like we are the masters of total reinvention. And when we heard one story after another, it was like reaffirming that thought of all the times we've had to start from scratch, or when obstacles were put in our way and we overcame them. So for me, the inner work is paying off, and the moment everything aligns, it's going to be beautiful.
This video is coming to an end, but not our visit to Delta Macuro. There will still be a third video exploring this state.
And we're going to venture into the canals, but we won't give any more details.
So you have to subscribe, comment, like, and wait a few more days, because a new, very interesting video is coming.
I hope you really enjoyed it. Leave us your comments down below and give us a like too, because we really appreciate it. And we want to keep traveling around Venezuela and the world so you can enjoy this life just like we do.